Jack Harper wiped the sweat from his forehead as he stared at the scanner screen. The green lights blinked in a pattern he had never seen before. After 18 hours of searching through space junk and broken satellites, his body ached. His coffee had gone cold hours ago. The salvage ship Horizon was old but reliable. Jack had bought it with his last credits 5 years ago. Since then, he had lived alone among the stars, collecting scrap metal and abandoned equipment to sell. It was a lonely job, but it paid the bills. "Computer, run that scan again," Jack said, leaning forward in his pilot seat. The mechanical voice replied, "Scan complete. Unknown energy source detected. Location, moon surface, Sector 7G. Jack rubbed his tired eyes. Sector 7G was supposed to be empty. No colonies, no mining operations, nothing but dead rocks floating in space. He had checked this area 3 times in the past month. There had never been anything here before. The signal pulsed on his screen like a heartbeat. Steady, rhythmic, artificial. Distance to signal? Jack asked. 47,000 kilometers. Jack chewed his lip. Company rules said he should report any unknown signals to headquarters, but headquarters took a 60% cut of any valuable finds. If this was something good, something worth real money, he needed it all for himself. His sister Kate back on Earth needed medicine. Expensive medicine. He made his decision. Jack grabbed the ship's controls and turned toward the signal. The moon grew larger in his viewport. It was an ugly thing covered in gray dust and sharp rocks. No atmosphere, no water, no life. The perfect place to hide something. As he descended, his scanner picked up more details. The signal came from underground. Something was buried in the moon's surface. Jack landed the Horizon in a flat crater. Dust clouds rose around the ship, then settled in the weak gravity. He put on his spacesuit, checking each seal twice. One mistake out here meant death. The airlock hissed open. Jack stepped onto the moon's surface, his boots crunching in the fine dust. His helmet light cut through the darkness. The signal source was 200 meters north. He walked carefully, watching his oxygen levels. The ground was uneven, full of holes and loose rocks. Several times he almost fell. His breathing echoed inside the helmet. Then he saw it. A metal structure stuck out from a hillside. Most of it was buried under tons of rock and dust. Only a small entrance remained visible. The metal was strange, not like anything humans built. It seemed to shift colors in his helmet light from silver to blue to green. Jack approached slowly. His scanner showed the signal coming from inside. It also showed something else. A life sign. One person. Human. His heart raced. Someone was alive in there. The entrance was a narrow tunnel. Jack had to crouch to fit inside. The walls were smooth, made of the same strange metal. His light revealed symbols carved into the surface. Not human writing. Something else. The tunnel opened into a larger chamber. Jack stopped and stared. In the center of the room stood a glass pod. Inside the pod lay a woman. She looked young, maybe 25 years old. Her hair was dark brown, floating around her face in the pod's liquid. Her skin was pale. She wore a white uniform with patches Jack didn't recognize. Machines surrounded the pod, alien machines. They hummed with power, lights blinking in complex patterns. Tubes and wires connected the pod to the walls. Everything looked incredibly advanced, far beyond human technology. Jack moved closer. The woman's chest rose and fell slowly. She was breathing, alive, but the machines were failing. Several panels showed red warning lights. Sparks flew from damaged components. The humming sound grew weaker with each passing moment. A screen near the pod displayed numbers counting down. Jack didn't understand the alien symbols, but he recognized a timer when he saw one. 3 symbols changed to 2, then 1. Time was running out. He found what looked like a control panel. The symbols meant nothing to him, but there was a large button in the center. It pulsed with blue light. Jack hesitated. He had no idea what the button would do. But the woman would die if he did nothing. Jack pressed the button. The chamber filled with noise. Machines roared to life. The pod began to glow. The liquid inside bubbled and drained away. Steam hissed from vents. The glass front of the pod cracked, then split open. The woman's eyes snapped open. They were bright blue, like Earth's sky. For a moment, she stared at nothing. Then her gaze focused on Jack. Fear flooded her face. She gasped, trying to speak, but only coughed up fluid. "Easy," Jack said, reaching out to steady her. "You're safe. I'm human. My name is Jack." She gripped his arm hard. Her voice came out rough and broken. Where am I?" "On a moon in Sector 7G, Jack replied. "I found your distress signal." She shook her head, confused. "Distress signal? I don't—" She looked around the chamber, at the alien machines, at the broken pod. "Oh God, they left me. They left me here." "Who left you?" Jack asked. She started to cry. Not gentle tears, but deep, painful sobs. "My crew. The Pioneer mission." "What year is it? Please, what year?" Jack felt his stomach drop. "It's 2387. The woman went silent. She stared at him, then at her shaking hands. When she spoke again, her voice was barely a whisper. 200 years. I've been asleep for 200 years. Jack helped her out of the pod. She could barely stand. Her legs shook with each step. He caught her when she started to fall. "We need to get you to my ship," Jack said. "You need medical attention." She nodded weakly. As they moved toward the tunnel, she looked back at the alien chamber one last time. "This wasn't supposed to happen. We were explorers, scientists, and they left me here to die." Jack supported her weight as they walked. He had come to this dead moon looking for salvage. Instead, he had found a woman from the past, alone in an alien tomb. Everything about this felt wrong, dangerous. But he couldn't leave her behind. They reached the horizon just as her legs gave out completely. Jack carried her aboard and laid her on the medical cot. She was already unconscious again, her breathing shallow but steady. As the ship lifted off from the moon's surface, Jack looked at the sleeping woman. He had so many questions. Who was she? What was the Pioneer mission? Why was she in an alien structure? And most importantly, what had happened 200 years ago that left her abandoned on this barren moon? The stars offered no answers. But Jack knew one thing for certain. His simple salvage run had just become something much bigger. Something that would change both their lives forever. Emma Cole sat on the medical cot, wrapped in Jack's spare blanket. Her hands shook as she held a cup of hot soup. 3 days had passed since Jack found her on the moon. She still jumped at every sound the ship made. The Pioneer launched on July 4th, 2187. She began, her voice steady but quiet. Independence Day. They said we were humanity's greatest hope. 45 crew members, the best scientists and engineers Earth could offer. Jack sat across from her, listening carefully. He had turned off the ship's autopilot to give her his full attention. Outside the viewport, stars drifted slowly past. Our mission was simple, Emma continued. Find new worlds for human colonies. We had the most advanced ship ever built. Faster than light drive, artificial gravity, everything. She took a small sip of soup. For 6 months, everything went perfectly. We mapped 12 star systems, found 3 planets that could support human life. What happened? Jack asked gently. Emma's blue eyes grew distant. We detected something. A massive structure floating in deep space, bigger than any space station. Captain Torres decided to investigate. She shivered despite the blanket. I told him it was a bad idea. The structure was too perfect, too advanced. But Torres was ambitious. He wanted his name in the history books. Jack poured her more soup from the heater. The simple act seemed to calm her. The structure was a sphere, 20 kilometers across. No visible weapons, no signs of life, just smooth metal and strange symbols. Emma's voice dropped to a whisper. We found an entrance. Torres led the first team inside. I stayed on the Pioneer with the medical staff. She stopped talking for a long moment. Jack waited patiently. They were inside for 3 hours. When they came back, they were different. Emma's hand started shaking again. Their eyes were wrong. Black, like oil. They moved too smoothly, like puppets on strings, and they didn't speak. Not with words. What do you mean? Jack asked. They made sounds. Clicks and whistles. Not human sounds. Emma set down her cup before she dropped it. Torres ordered everyone to the structure. Said they had found something wonderful, a gift for humanity. But I could see the truth. Whatever was in that sphere had taken them. Changed them. Jack felt cold despite the ship's heating system. What did you do? I ran to the medical bay. Locked myself in a stasis pod. Set it for maximum duration. Tears ran down her cheeks. I was a coward. I left my friends to that thing. You survived, Jack said firmly. That's not cowardice, that's smart. Emma wiped her eyes. The pod had a small window. I saw everything. The changed crew brought something back from the structure. A black substance that moved like liquid but acted alive. It spread through the ship like a disease. Everyone it touched became like Torres. Empty shells controlled by something else. She paused to drink some water. Her throat was still raw from centuries of stasis sleep. The ship's AI was military grade. It recognized the threat. As the crew changed, the AI fought back. Sealed sections, vented atmosphere, anything to stop the spread. But it was losing. Emma's voice grew stronger. Just before my pod put me to sleep, I saw the AI's last action. It ejected my pod and several emergency beacons. Then it flew the Pioneer straight into the nearest star. Jack leaned back in his chair. The story sounded insane. But the alien technology he had seen, the stasis pod, Emma herself, all of it was real. The AI saved you, he said. Emma nodded. It calculated that someone would eventually find the beacons. That humanity needed to know what happened. But 200 years? She laughed bitterly. Earth Command probably thinks we all died in an accident. Case closed. Mystery solved. Jack stood and walked to his computer terminal. Let me check something. He accessed the public databases, searching for information about the Pioneer mission. After several minutes, he frowned. You're right. Official records say the ship was lost with all hands. System malfunction. No survivors. They're lying, Emma said immediately. Or they don't know the truth. Jack dug deeper, using his salvager access codes to reach restricted files. Most were locked behind military encryption. But he found fragments, classified reports, sensor logs from patrol ships, references to something called Project Lighthouse. Emma, look at this. He showed her the screen. 3 months after Pioneer disappeared, Earth Command launched a secret program. Dozens of long-range probes sent to specific coordinates, all classified. Emma studied the data. Her face grew pale. Those coordinates, they're searching for more structures like the one we found. Why would they do that? Jack asked. If they knew what happened to your ship. Emma was quiet for a long time. When she spoke, her voice was cold. Because they want the technology, the power. They don't care about the cost. She looked at Jack with hard eyes. We need to warn people. That thing is still out there. And now Earth Command is looking for more. Jack's communication system suddenly beeped. An urgent message. Military encryption. Jack's blood ran cold as he read it. They know you're here, he said. A fleet is already on the way. They're ordering me to surrender you immediately. Emma stood up so fast she knocked over her cup. They were watching, waiting. I'm not a survivor to them, I'm a specimen, the only human who was exposed to that thing and lived. Jack made a decision. He had lived his whole life following rules, staying safe, avoiding trouble. But looking at Emma, scared, alone, hunted by her own people, he knew what he had to do. We're running, he said, firing up the ship's engines. I know places they can't reach. Free ports in the outer systems. People who don't trust Earth Command. You'll be branded a criminal, Emma warned. They'll hunt you too. Jack smiled grimly. My sister always said I was too boring. Time to change that. He set a course for the frontier, the lawless space beyond Earth's control. Besides, someone needs to hear your story, the real story, not whatever lies Earth Command is selling. As the horizon jumped to faster than light speed, Emma touched Jack's shoulder. Thank you, you didn't have to do this. Yes, I did, Jack replied. 200 years ago, your crew found something that shouldn't exist, something that turns people into puppets. And now our own government is looking for more of it. That's not right. Behind them, Earth's military fleet dropped out of hyperspace, finding only empty space. But Jack knew they wouldn't give up. The hunt had begun. Emma stared at the stars streaming past the viewport. Somewhere out there, the black substance waited, growing, spreading, controlling, and Earth Command wanted to find it. She had been alone for 2 centuries, but now she had an ally. Together, they would expose the truth, even if it meant becoming enemies of Earth itself. The military corvette caught them just outside the Neptune transit station. Jack saw it on his scanner first. A sleek warship dropping out of hyperspace, weapons powered and targeting systems locked onto the horizon. This is Earth Command Vessel Sparta. Salvage ship Horizon, cut your engines immediately, prepare to be boarded. Jack's hands tightened on the controls. Beside him, Emma had gone pale. They were still 2 days from the frontier, from safety. Too far to run. Do what they say, Emma whispered. Maybe I can talk to them. Make them understand. Jack killed the engines. The Sparta moved closer, its docking tube extending like a metal snake. He could see fighter escorts circling, ready to fire if they tried to escape. The airlock hissed open. 6 Marines in full combat armor stormed aboard, rifles raised. Behind them walked a woman in an admiral's uniform. She was tall, with short gray hair and eyes like winter ice. Mr. Harper, Ms. Cole. The woman's voice was calm, controlled. I'm Admiral Lisa Stone, Special Operations Division. You've caused us quite a chase. Admiral, Emma stepped forward. You need to listen. The Pioneer found something dangerous. An alien infection that... I know exactly what the Pioneer found, Stone interrupted. I've read every report, analyzed every piece of data. I've spent my entire career preparing for what's coming. Jack frowned. Then why the cover-up? Why hide the truth? Stone smiled coldly. Because, Mr. Harper, the truth would cause panic, chaos, the collapse of human civilization. She turned to Emma. You were exposed to the entity. You carry antibodies that might be our only defense. You're too valuable to be running around space telling ghost stories. Ghost stories? Emma's voice rose. 44 people died. My friends were turned into puppets. 44 people were transformed into something beyond human, Stone corrected. The first contact with a superior intelligence, a tragedy, yes, but also an opportunity. Jack felt sick. You want to use that thing? After what it did? Stone walked to the viewport, gazing out at the stars. Do you know what's out there, Mr. Harper? We've sent probes to the edge of our galaxy, deep space telescopes that see further than ever before. And do you know what we found? She turned back to them. Movement. Massive objects changing course, heading toward Earth. The entity your crew released? It sent a signal. Called its kind. They're coming. Emma staggered. Jack caught her arm to steady her. How long? She asked. 50 years. Maybe less. Stone's expression never changed. Humanity needs weapons, defenses. The technology in those alien structures might be our only hope. But the infection, Emma started, can be controlled, contained, studied. Stone gestured to her Marines. Take Ms. Cole to the medical bay. Full isolation protocols. No. Jack stepped in front of Emma. She's not a lab rat. Stone sighed. Mr. Harper, you're a salvager. A nobody. You stumbled into something beyond your understanding. Stand aside. Jack didn't move. His hand drifted toward the pistol on his belt. The Marines raised their rifles. Emma touched his shoulder. Jack, don't. Too many people have died already. She looked at Stone. I'll go with you. But I want guarantees. Humane treatment, access to communication, and Jack walks free. Stone considered this. Agreed. Mr. Harper will be released after signing security documents. You'll be transferred to Research Station Prime. Our best scientists are waiting. As the Marines led Emma away, she looked back at Jack. Her eyes held a message he couldn't quite read. Then she was gone. Stone handed Jack a data pad. Sign these. Official Secrets Act. Disclosure means life in prison. Jack signed without reading. His mind was racing, planning. 2 hours later, Jack sat in a holding cell on Luna Base. They hadn't released him as promised. Through the energy field, he watched guards passing in the corridor. One stopped at his cell. Visitor, the guard announced. Young woman in a scientist's coat entered. She had Asian features and nervous eyes. The guard left them alone. Mr. Harper, I'm Dr. Amy Chen. I work at Research Station Prime. She spoke quickly, quietly. I don't have much time. Emma asked me to find you. Jack leaned forward. Is she okay? For now. But Admiral Stone is lying. About everything. Amy pulled out a small device, scanning for surveillance. The alien structures aren't weapons, they're prisons. Warning beacons. The civilization that built them was trying to contain something. The black substance, Jack said. Amy nodded. It's not just an infection, it's a hive mind, billions of years old. It consumes entire species, adds them to itself. The builders fought it for millennia. The prisons were their last resort. And we're opening them, Jack realized. Project. Lighthouse has found 17 structures. 5 have already been breached. Amy's voice shook. Each release makes the hive stronger. And Stone knows this. She thinks humanity can control it. Use it as a weapon against what's coming. Jack stood up. We have to stop her. Amy held up a keycard. Emma has a plan, but we need your help. Your ship is in Impound Bay 7. Can you fly it? If you can get me out of here. Amy smiled grimly. Emma said you were reliable. She pressed the keycard to the cell controls. The energy field flickered and died. Security will notice in 5 minutes. Move fast. They ran through the base corridors. Jack had memorized the layout during his escort here. Amy led him through service tunnels, avoiding patrols. His heart pounded as they reached the impound. Base on the horizon sat between 2 military shuttles. Jack ran up the ramp, Amy close behind. He fired up the engines, not caring about proper procedures. Control tower is hailing us, Amy reported. Ignore them. Jack activated the bay door's emergency override. Alarms screamed. The massive doors began to open, revealing the lunar surface beyond. Military ships were already launching. Jack pushed the throttle forward. The horizon burst from the bay, climbing hard. Luna's weak gravity helped. In seconds, they were in open space. Where's Emma? Jack asked, dodging incoming fire. Research Station Prime. Coordinates uploaded to your computer. Amy gripped her seat as Jack pulled extreme maneuvers. She's pretending to cooperate, learning everything she can about Project Lighthouse. A missile exploded near their hull, shields flared. Jack targeted the hyperspace drive, counting down the seconds until it charged. Why are you helping us? He asked Amy. Because I've seen the test subjects. Volunteers who let themselves be infected. They're not human anymore, they're something else, something that terrifies me. Amy's voice was barely audible. And Stone wants to infect entire colonies, create an army. The hyperspace drive engaged. Stars elongated into lines. They were away. Jack set course for Research Station Prime. Somewhere there, Emma was playing a dangerous game, pretending to be a prisoner while gathering intelligence. And somewhere in deep space, 17 alien prisons waited. Some already opened, others still containing horrors beyond imagination. The conspiracy went deeper than Jack had imagined. Earth Command wasn't preparing to fight the coming threat. They were preparing to join it, to become it, and only 3 people knew the truth. Research Station Prime floated in the darkness between Mars and Jupiter. It was a massive structure, built into a captured asteroid. Military ships patrolled its perimeter. Defense satellites tracked every approaching vessel. Jack studied the station through his telescope. How do we get in? That place is a fortress. Amy Chen worked at the communication console. Emma has been sending coded messages through the station's science reports. She's made contact with other researchers who oppose Stone's plan. How many? Jack asked. 7, maybe 8. Not enough for a revolt, but enough to help. Amy pulled up a station schematic. Emma is in the high-security medical wing, level 12. They're running tests on her blood trying to synthesize the antibodies. Jack frowned. And she's just letting them? She's buying time, learning everything she can about Project Lighthouse. Amy highlighted several sections on the map. She's discovered something terrible. Stone isn't just studying the infection, she's already using it. What do you mean? Amy's face was grim. 3 colonies in the outer systems, officially listed as lost to pirate attacks. But Emma found the real reports. Stone infected them, turned entire populations into test subjects. Jack felt his stomach turn. Thousands of people? 12,000, all connected to the hive mind now. Stone calls them the First Guard, humanity's new defenders. Amy's voice shook with anger. She thinks she can control them. Use them as soldiers when the aliens arrive. Jack stood up, pacing the small bridge. We need to get Emma out now. I have a plan, Amy said. But it's dangerous. We'll need to dock with the station, pretend to be a supply ship. They'll scan us, check our identification. Amy smiled slightly. I've been preparing for this. Fake transponder codes, altered cargo manifest. We're delivering medical supplies from Earth. Jack was impressed. You've done this before? I helped design the station's security protocols. I know their weaknesses. Amy started working on the ship's computer. But once we're inside, we'll have maybe 20 minutes before they realize something's wrong. Jack returned to the pilot's seat. 20 minutes to find Emma, get her out and escape. Easy. Amy gave him a look. You don't have to do this. Stone will hunt you forever if you help Emma escape. She already is, Jack replied. Let's go save our friend. The approach to Research Station Prime took 3 hours. Jack flew carefully, following standard shipping lanes. Amy handled the communications, answering security challenges with practiced ease. Supply vessel Mercy's Hope requesting docking permission, she transmitted. Medical supplies from Johannesburg Pharma. Mercy's Hope, you're cleared for Bay 4, welcome to Prime. Jack guided the Horizon into the station's docking bay. The massive doors closed behind them. Artificial gravity kicked in. They had made it inside. Amy grabbed 2 medical technician uniforms from a storage locker. Put this on. We're delivering vaccines to the medical wing. They loaded a hover cart with fake supply containers. Jack's hands were steady, but his heart raced. Security cameras watched every corridor. Guards stood at checkpoints. One mistake would end everything. The medical wing was deep inside the station. They passed through 4 security checkpoints. Each time, Amy's forged credentials worked perfectly. Jack kept his head down, playing the role of a bored delivery worker. Level 12 was different. Fewer people, more guards. The walls were reinforced steel. Warning signs marked biohazard zones. Delivery for Dr. Martinez, Amy told the guard at the final checkpoint. The guard scanned their credentials, then frowned. I don't have any deliveries scheduled. Amy stayed calm. Emergency requisition. Check code 77 Alpha. While the UAE guard turned to his computer, Jack saw movement down the corridor. Emma. She was being escorted by 2 guards, heading for a laboratory. She looked thin, tired. But when she saw Jack, her eyes widened with hope. The checkpoint guard turned back. I'm not finding any. Jack didn't let him finish. He grabbed the man's weapon and fired. Stun setting. The guard dropped. Alarms started screaming. So much for subtle, Amy muttered. Emma's guards spun around, reaching for their weapons. Jack shot one. Emma surprised the other, driving her elbow into his throat. He went down, gasping. Jack, you came. Emma ran toward them. Save the reunion for later, Jack said, handing her a pistol. We need to move. Amy was already at a computer terminal. I'm uploading a virus to their security system. Should buy us some time. Red lights flashed. Blast doors started closing throughout the level. Jack could hear boots running. Lots of them. This way, Emma said, leading them down a side corridor. I know another route to the docking bay. They ran through a maze of laboratories and storage rooms. Emma knew every turn. Behind them, soldiers shouted orders. Weapons fire echoed off metal walls. Wait. Emma stopped at a heavy door marked Restricted. We need to get something first. We don't have time, Jack started. Trust me. Emma entered a code. The door opened onto a small laboratory. Inside, a single container sat on a pedestal. Black liquid swirled within the transparent walls. Is that? Amy gasped. A sample of the infection. The pure strain from the Pioneer. Emma grabbed the container. Stone has been using diluted versions. This is the original. We need it as evidence. More soldiers appeared at the far end of the corridor. Jack fired, forcing them back. Move! Now! They reached a maintenance shaft. Emma led them down narrow ladders and through ventilation ducts. The sound of pursuit grew fainter. They emerged, near the docking bay. But Admiral Stone was waiting. She stood by the horizon with 20 Marines. Her expression was disappointed, not angry. Emma, I truly hoped you would understand. Humanity needs weapons to survive what's coming. Not like this, Emma replied. Not by becoming the monster we're trying to fight. Stone sighed. You scientists, always so idealistic. The universe doesn't care about our morals. Only strength matters. Jack stepped forward. Let us go. You'll never control that thing, it will consume you. Perhaps. But it's better than extinction. Stone raised her hand to signal the Marines. Then Amy did something unexpected. She pressed a button on her data pad. Every light in the docking bay went out. Emergency systems failed. Gravity fluctuated. Station-wide system crash, Amy said calmly. My virus just reached the main computer. In the chaos, Jack grabbed Emma and ran for the ship. Marines fired blindly in the darkness. Amy was right behind them. They reached the horizon's ramp. Stone's voice rang out. You're only delaying the inevitable. We will have that sample, and we will save humanity, whether you approve or not. Jack fired up the engines. The docking bay doors were sealed, but he had no choice. He activated the ship's mining laser, cutting through the metal. Atmosphere rushed out. Emergency force fields flickered on. The horizon burst through the weakened doors into open space. Behind them, Research Station Prime struggled with cascading system failures. Ships launched in pursuit, but Amy's virus had crippled their targeting systems. They jumped to hyperspace before anyone could follow. In the quiet afterward, Emma held up the container of black liquid. We have the evidence. Now we need to find someone who will listen. Jack set course for the frontier. I know people out there, independent colonies. They don't trust Earth Command. Maybe they'll believe us. Amy slumped in her seat, exhausted. Stone won't stop. She'll brand us terrorists, hunt us across the galaxy. Emma nodded grimly. Then we better stay ahead of her. The universe needs to know the truth, before it's too late. The horizon flew on, carrying 3 fugitives and humanity's darkest secret. The frontier welcomed them with open arms. Independent colonies had no love for Earth Command. The story of 3 fugitives carrying proof of a massive conspiracy spread quickly through the outer settlements. Jack docked the horizon at Haven Station, a converted mining platform that served as the frontier's unofficial capital. Within hours, colony leaders gathered to hear Emma's testimony. She stood before them in the station's council chamber, the container of black liquid on the table. This is what Earth Command wants to use as a weapon. It doesn't create soldiers. It creates slaves, puppets controlled by an alien hive mind billions of years old. The colony leaders listened in horrified silence. Emma showed them her data, classified files stolen from Research Station Prime, recordings of infected test subjects, proof of the destroyed colonies. Stone believes she can control it, Amy added. But she's wrong. The infection is already spreading beyond her containment. Protocols. 3 colonies are gone. More will follow. An older man named Daniel, leader of Haven Station, leaned forward. What do you propose we do? We're just frontier colonies. We don't have warships or armies. Emma took a deep breath. We find the ones who built the prisons, the original enemy of the hive mind. They fought it before and contained it. They might be our only hope. You want us to search for a dead civilization? Another leader asked. Not dead, Emma said. Hidden. The pioneers' data included coordinates. A star system far beyond chartered space. If any of the builders survived, that's where they'll be. Jack stepped forward. I'll take her there. My ship is small, fast. We can slip past Earth. Commands patrols. It's suicide, Daniel said bluntly. You're talking about flying into the complete unknown, looking for aliens who might not exist to ask for help against a threat most people don't believe in. Emma's eyes blazed. The alternative is letting Stone turn humanity into puppets. The hive mind is coming whether we believe in it or not. At least this gives us a chance. The debate continued for hours. Some leaders wanted to hide, to fortify their colonies and hope the threat passed them by. Others suggested negotiating, with Earth Command. A few even wondered if Stone's plan might work. Finally, Daniel called for a vote. By a narrow margin, the council agreed to support Emma's mission. They spent 2 weeks preparing. The Horizon was upgraded with the best equipment the frontier could provide. Advanced sensors, enhanced shields, extra supplies for a long journey. Amy worked with frontier scientists to analyze the infection sample, looking for weaknesses. The night before departure, Emma found Jack on the observation deck, staring at the stars. Scared? She asked. Terrified, Jack admitted. But someone has to do this. He turned to her. Why does it have to be us? Emma smiled sadly. Because we know the truth. Because we've seen what the infection does to people. And because nobody else will. Amy joined them carrying data pads. I've finished analyzing the alien signals from the pioneers' data. The builder's language is mathematical based on quantum frequencies. If we find them, this might help us communicate. Jack took the data pads. You're not coming with us? Amy shook her head. Someone needs to stay here. Keep the frontier colonies united. Prepare defenses in case you don't succeed. She hugged them both. Find them. Find a way to stop this. The next morning, the Horizon launched. Emma and Jack sat side by side in the cockpit, watching familiar stars fall behind them. Ahead lay uncharted space, dangers unknown, and possibly humanity's last hope. Whatever happens, Jack said, I'm glad I found you on that moon. Emma took his hand. You didn't just find me, Jack. You saved me. You gave me a second chance to make things right. The ship's hyperspace drive engaged. Stars stretched into lines of light. Behind them, the frontier colonies prepared for war. On Earth, Admiral Stone continued her dark experiments, convinced she could control the uncontrollable. And somewhere in the vast darkness ahead, an ancient civilization waited. The builders of prisons, the enemy of the hive mind, humanity's possible salvation. Emma and Jack flew toward the unknown, carrying with them the hopes of 2 species, humanity, and whatever remained of those who had fought this battle before. The greatest adventure in human history had begun, and it had started with a salvager finding a woman alone on a barren moon. He had found her alone, and together, they would change everything forever.